Last night, the race to represent one of the province's most affluent constituencies came to an end. It marked the second time in 8 months that Tuxedo residents headed to the polls, following former Premier Heather Stefanson's resignation in April from her seat there. And NDP candidate Carla Compton made history, managing to flip their riding from blue to orange with a 600-vote lead over over PC candidate Lawrence Pinsky. The seat has historically been a progressive conservative stronghold, for 4 decades. But just last October, you might recall during the election, the NDP came within 300 votes of taking it on October 3rd. But now they've won. And it is the morning after the election. Carla Compton is in studio. Good morning.
Good morning.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you for having me.
How are you doing this morning? Is it sunk in?
It's still sinking in. I think I'm still in a little bit of that floating, energy is still buzzing. I haven't even looked at all my messages yet.
I bet.
Because I knew I had a late night, early morning. So trying to stay focused on what needs to still be done and sort that stuff out.
Who's the first person you were able to share your excitement with? Like when you think about, yourself personally, who did you turn to or call that you really shared in this moment with?
I was really fortunate to have some family and friends with me in my campaign office with my team when we received the news. So they were right there. I was able to hug and celebrate with them before I knew anyone else knew.
You're a nurse. You've been a nurse. Now you're going to be a politician. Why are you making the leap?
Well, and it's interesting. It doesn't feel like I'm leaving nursing to become something different. This really feels like I'm doing, I think I said it earlier, at my initial announcement, but it feels like I'm evolving in my nursing practice. That what brought me to nursing was wanting to help people and wanting to support people to live their best lives. And this feels like an opportunity to do that on a bigger scale, of being able to work with government, in government, be able to really advocate for the constituents of Tuxedo, what I've heard on the doorsteps already, what I will continue to hear from them, and really do what I can to play my part in helping Manitoba become the best province.
I'm curious what ideas you might bring forward about what needs to be done specifically to retain nurses, given that obviously you've really recently walked in those footsteps. As you were a hemodialysis nurse, I know. Yeah. So are you coming in already with ideas you hope will be heard?
Oh, I definitely have ideas. Some my own, some I've gotten from folks on the doorstep, some I've gotten from colleagues.
So what do you think can be done to retain nurses?
There's a few things. I'm looking forward to getting to work and finding out what the current plan is, because I'm sure there's already some things. I know Wab Kinew and the current NDP government has been already getting to work to fix healthcare and make things better. And so before I start spouting out a whole bunch of ideas, I kind of want to get a lay of the land.
That's fair.
See what they're planning, and then offer input from that point.
Why do you think the vote last night went the way it did? After you've broken four decades of PCs holding that seat.
Yeah, well, I really do believe the residents of Tuxedo constituency, really gave a big message in the general election that they were disappointed in the PCs for it to be such a close race, and Wab Kinew and the NDP government heard. And they really wanted to respond. And I know every day, me and my team, from the beginning, we were knocking on as many doors to connect with as many residents as possible, because we know it's about building relationships and proving to the citizens of Tuxedo that we're in it for them.
What did you hear on the doors as some of the biggest issues for people in that part of the city?
Definitely healthcare. And what I really appreciated and kept thanking people for doing is sharing their experiences. Because obviously I work in healthcare, but I have a very specific lens that I've experienced, and I know I don't know everything. And so that was a message I really kept inviting folks to let me know what they've experienced, what's not working, and even the things that, you know what, this was this really amazing experience, actually. And because to know what has been good and what's not working, that's the only way that we can find the best solutions forward.
I often ask people who are elected to office some personal questions, just so those that elected you can understand sort of who you are a little bit. So what would you like to share about, and I'll let you pick because I didn't warn you about this. So guilty pleasure or something that people might be surprised to know about you. I mean, I know we mentioned you're a nurse. I know that you identify as a mother, but tell us something about yourself that you'd like to share. Do you have a guilty pleasure? Do you watch anything or eat anything or do anything? Or most of us have one.
I'm very much a sci-fi nerd.
Oh, cool. What kind of sci-fi?
I'm a big fan of Star Trek and Star Wars. I know some people say you can't like both.
I do.
But I'm a big fan of science fiction, fantasy, make-believe stuff.
I love that. And as far as being a mom, because I know you identify that, how many kids do you have?
Well, and I was actually going to say, I definitely have mothering energy, but I'm an auntie. I don't actually.
Pardon me.
Yeah, no, that's okay. That's okay. You know what? People ask me all the time, even people that have known me for years, patients and everything. They say, "Oh, and how are your children doing?" And I say, "Oh, well, thank you. I don't actually have children. I have nieces and nephews."
Oh, that's on me. I got that wrong. That's an error. I apologize.
That's totally fine.
Yeah. What would you like to say to the people of Tuxedo this morning that elected you?
Oh, I can't say thank you too much or enough. I just feel so honored that they're entrusting me with this really new thing, right? This is a big thing for the folks of Tuxedo to trust someone of a different party. And I really don't take that trust for granted. I don't take it lightly. I know I've started to build relationships with folks, but I'm really looking forward to the next, I believe it's about 3.5 years of building more relationships, strengthening their trust in me.
Thank you so much for coming in after what was an exciting and I guess a late night. And I know you've got lots of messages to go through, so we appreciate you being on CBC.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's been my pleasure.
Carla Compton is the MLA-elect for Tuxedo.